Hey, welcome to CheaperJeeperTV. I'm Dino, your host. Glad to see you here. What's been a game changer for us when we go winter camping is to use a diesel heater. Now, I've done a couple videos on them, but Vevor has sent us these two models to review, and I'll do a comparison analysis to see how they stack up against the ones that I made. So stick around. I'm just interjecting this piece of video from the tip segment at the beginning of the video to make sure that if you think you might use one of these diesel heaters, please make sure you listen to what I have to say in the tip segment. Thank you very much. Okay, so before we start the review of the Vevor diesel heaters that were sent to me, let's first take a look at the two diesel heaters in a box that I originally created. Now, the link to this video where I created this will be in the description section, but as you can see, it's a nice looking little box. It has the actual full 10-liter tank associated with it. It does make it a little heavy, but it'll last a long time. It also has a nice construction inside. As you can see here, there's enough room to keep some of the pipes, and it has some vents in the case just to make sure it doesn't get too hot. I actually even used some quick disconnects for the tubing that I ran to the Jeep when I used this, and I actually used 4-inch tubing to run the heat in this unit, and that actually proved to be quite beneficial because with the 3-inch tubing I learned that there's a little bit of constriction with the folds in the tubing that impacts its performance. So if you were going to run your heater hose coming out of this unit for a significant distance, like up to the rooftop tent, you may want to use a 4-inch tube, and that way there's less constriction to the airflow. But this unit worked fantastically. We used it when we went winter camping. I was very happy with the performance of this unit, but like I mentioned, using the 10-liter fuel tank made it a little heavy to haul around, and the form factor was such that it used up a lot of space. So I decided to try to improve the design, and I went to this form factor. Now, for this heater in this video, I showed how I designed and created it, so you can check it out. The link will be in the description. But you can see already, it's a little bit smaller of a form factor. It was very easy just to haul around. It has a few features to it, like the exhaust pipes come out the side, so this can just sit right on the ground like this. Very stable, won't tip over, that sort of thing. And then we use the heat from this to run up into the Jeep and out to our tent to make those areas nice and warm. And I even have like a little bit of a sluice gate here to help keep critters out when I'm not using it. And you'll be able to get more details if you watch the video where I created it. But I was very happy with this. But I did find that using a 3-inch hose, that all the corrugations in it over the length of distance to get into the Jeep and our tent, it did reduce its performance a little bit. Just something to keep in mind when you are coming up with what you want to do for your needs. But I was very happy with these. It did help us get out there and do some winter camping and keep things nice and comfortable, warm and dry. Now, Vevor sent us these two units, and you can see that these two all-in-one coming from the factory type of diesel heaters maintain the same kind of form factor as the two that I created. So let's have a look at the difference in the unboxing of these heaters compared to those. So as you can see here, when we look at the unboxing of my original diesel heaters, I just bought the diesel heater, and then I would assemble it all together into these boxes. So there's quite a bit involved. Now, when we look at the unboxing of these two heaters from Vevor, you can see that it's just a matter of taking it out of the box and it's ready to go. It's already put together for you, and the form factor of these are pretty nice. When you take a look at this unit, I'll compare it to that unit. When it came out of the box, it was virtually no work at all. It just comes out of the box ready to go. You do have to connect the power line to In my case, I used cigarette lighter so I could plug it into my Jackery, and then you're just ready to go and start using this unit. And it's the same form factor as my original one, sort of like a tall orientation. Now the thing about these types of diesel heaters, the exhaust pipes come out of the bottom. On mine, I had that one coming out of the side, as well as this one, which made them quite stable. Now with these ones, they seem stable here on the driveway, but when you're on terrain where you're camping, it might not be totally flat, so it might not be exactly totally stable. Plus, you need to get the exhaust pipe to come out of the bottom of this unit and off to the side. Now, what some people have done, and I've seen this in other videos, they just mount a couple 2x4s to the bottom to raise it a little bit, maybe give it a little better footing, and then they run the exhaust pipe and bend it as sharply as they can to come out the side. Now here on the screen, I'll show you two of these 90-degree elbows that I just saw on Amazon, and I've ordered them. They just haven't come out yet. And I wanted to get this video out to you very quickly so that you might be able to get one for yourself for the winter season. But make sure you subscribe and hit the alert bell for this channel, because when I use them in an upcoming camping trip, I'll be able to report to you on how these are doing. Now overall, when you have a look at this unit, it seems really nice and sturdy, and I'm really impressed so far with the quality of how these are constructed. Now this one actually has a little special feature to it. You can order these as standalone units, all put together for you, and they just come out of the box ready to go, except for the fact that you have to connect the wire to a power source. But you can also order these units with a special feature that automatically calibrates the fuel-air mixture for your elevation. That's the issue with these types of diesel heaters. If you go high up thousands of feet into the mountains to go camping, is that the fuel air mixture could be off and you'll have problems with how the unit performs. Well, for example, this unit here I ordered with that feature. You'll see it up on the screen. And so if you order a unit that has that feature, you don't have to worry if on one of your trips you happen to go into the mountains and you're thousands of feet up on a mountain camping somewhere. The diesel heater with this feature will automatically calibrate itself. So that is pretty amazing. So you can see on the screen now some video on how I deployed the Chinese diesel heaters when I was winter camping. Now you can see they were placed on the ground, and I had the heated tube coming into the window vent, heating up the inside of the Jeep, but I then also had a splitter where I directed some of the heat into our change room tent, which was pretty nice to have an extra heated space that allowed us to use for changing, just having lunch in, or even using it as a bathroom. Now you can see this unit right here, I could still do the same, but there are some products out there that you can attach to your tire and just sit the diesel heater on right here. And then you could run the hose into the Jeep. So my recommendation is to just keep it here down on the ground if you are going to run a hose into a tent as well as up into the Jeep. Now there is this product here that I'm going to show on the screen. It's like a MOLLE panel that's made out of metal, and it connects to the side of the Jeep right here. I'm going to try to get that, and what would be nice with that item is that you can secure the heater to that and just hang it right here, and then just run the hose directly into your window vent. And that seems quite appealing. I'm going to try that out, so make sure you are subscribed and you've hit the alert bell so you'll be notified when that video comes out. Now, of these two units, the one that is a favorite of mine is the one with this form factor right here. It seems very stable, it's not easily tipped over, and with the 90-degree elbow that I've ordered that's coming, I'll be able to attach it and I won't have to prop the unit up on 2x4s if I didn't want to. And so I'm pretty excited to start using this. Now, what are some of the disadvantages of these units? Well, first of all, on the outside you can see both of these units have got the controllers mounted to the outside. Now they do come with remotes, and my intention on how I'm going to use it is that I'm going to use the remote from the inside of the Jeep to turn the unit on and off to raise the fan level to high to low. So I don't need to have the controller in the Jeep. I could leave it attached. They look like they can come off, and I'd have to put some wire to extend it if I wanted to bring the controller into the unit. But I've seen a lot of videos out there where people are running the heat up into their rooftop tents and that sort of thing, and they have them outside. The thing that I'm concerned with is that this controller is unprotected. So when I use this unit, I'm gonna have some kind of shield covering over the controllers, and you'll have to make sure you come back for those videos to see how I do that. But let's have a look on the inside of these units to see how they're constructed relative to the unit that I had constructed myself. Now this unit, as you can see, has got screws going all the way around, but other than that, I think that they're essentially going to have the same heater inside. So let's have a look at this one, because this one's got these little latches that you could just flip and undo it. Now when you look at this, and this here is wobbling like that, when it's all attached, it's very sturdy, so I'm pretty happy with that. And as you can see here, you got the 5-liter gas tank with the vented cap, which is nice. Here is the fuel pump right here. And one thing I could see already is that this unit doesn't have a fuel filter, so it does leave about a centimeter or so any sediment that would be just collecting on the bottom might not get sucked into the filter. But that is something that a DIY person might want to add to this setup, and that is to somehow ensure that the fuel is filtered so that it doesn't cause any complications. Another thing that I've seen some people complain about is the use of these soft green fuel lines. Now what some people have reported is that over time the diesel breaks this rubber down a little bit, or that the large diameter of that fuel line causes the pulse of the pump to kind of flex with the line, so you lose some of the pressure going into the glow plug into the heater. Now I think for the short length that you have running in a unit like this, it wouldn't cause you any problems. But if in the long term you plan to be keeping this and you're looking for something to do, switching out this fuel line to the more hard plastic type of fuel lines that are used in those units right there, as you probably can see if you go look at the videos of how I constructed them, they have the fuel filters, and those ones also have the hard plastic type of fuel line that won't flex. And otherwise this unit looks pretty nice. So although I haven't taken this one apart, it's made from the same manufacturer, and I think even from other manufacturers you're going to find they use this fuel line and that they don't use a fuel filter, and I just can see that for myself, and I've seen it in other people's video reviews. So if you're going to get yourself one of these and you plan to keep it in the long term, those are two things you might want to do to improve this unit. But already I am pretty impressed with how solid these things are. I think they're really a nice design, very convenient for moving around with the handles on them and the form factor. And the fact that this one here was ordered with that feature that adjusts the fuel air mixture for elevation, that makes this one even 10 times better than what I had already. But now what we need to talk about is the price. When I built those, just the cost of the unit, the diesel heater, was more than what this all-in-one unit costs today. And this one even comes with the feature that adjusts for elevation. So that is very compelling. The thought that you can just buy one where you could pull it right out of the box, ready to use in a form factor that's very convenient, and it also has the fuel air mixture adjustment automatically done for you at elevation and for a lower cost. So far, I'm pretty impressed with this, and I'm interested in testing these out in the field. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel and that you'll get the notification when those videos come out. I still have a couple other videos coming up where I'm getting this rig prepared to go take it out camping. I've got a special tailgate table that I'm going to be installing soon. I'm building a new rack for storage in the back, and then we're going to be out winter camping, and we're going to use one or both of these units and see how they work. Well, so far so good. Let's move on to our tip segment. Now for some cheaper Jeeper tips. I'll put a link to the diesel heaters in the description section of this video, where you could use the discount code SAVEMORE5 to save an additional 5% on one of these diesel heaters. Okay. This is one of the most important parts of the whole video, and that's what I'm going to say here in this tip segment. If you're planning on using diesel heaters when you go camping, you absolutely must have a carbon monoxide alarm. Okay? Now, you don't want to be the guy who's responsible for people getting hurt or possibly dying because you didn't do this. You're using a carbon-based fuel, there's combustion, there could be problems. Now, I did talk about how you can get a leak in these units in this video, so you may want to go check it out. But I'm probably going to make a dedicated video to this topic because it's pretty important. But you're here right now, so just keep in mind you absolutely should have a carbon monoxide alarm. And just to add that little extra sense of security, I also run a carbon monoxide monitor. Now, the thing about the alarm is that should there be a carbon monoxide leak somewhere in the system, that when the amount of carbon monoxide reaches a certain level, the alarm goes off. Now, these are pretty handy, very easy to keep around. This one has a 10-year battery life. There's a button on it to test. Just keep it in your tent or in your Jeep or in your trailer or wherever you're using your heater, and you should be kept pretty safe. The thing about having a monitor is if there's a small leak, something that won't set off your alarm, it's good to know, because you don't want to be in your tent or in your van or in your trailer or in your Jeep breathing in this stuff. It's going to make you sick until it eventually gets to the point where the alarm goes off. Having a monitor lets you know if you have a problem brewing, and that way you can get to it before the problem becomes alarming. Yeah, so that's an important tip. So now let's hear what our subscribers have to say. And now for subscribers' tips. This week's subscriber tip comes from our Set Power 12-volt refrigerator review video from last week. Hey CheaperJeeperTV, one thing you should never do is turn the cooling on when it's empty. Air needs a lot of power to cool down. It's much better to turn it on when you fill it up with cold goods. Now it just has to keep it cool instead of cooling air that you don't need to be cold. Signed, Miss Ultrafox. Hey, thank you very much, Miss Ultrafox. That's a fantastic tip, and I'm sure it'll help many people who watch this. So thank you very much, and if you have a tip out there that you'd like to share, please share it in the comments section below, as it may make it in a future episode. Thank you very much. Hey, that's it for this week's episode of CheaperJeeperTV. I hope that you found it interesting. If you did, how about giving the video a thumbs up? And if you're new to the channel, feel free to hit the subscribe button and the alert bell so you'll be notified when the next video is released. Until the next time, I'm Dino for CheaperJeeperTV. Be well, stay safe, take care.